I'm Javier, and I am going to be showing you today how to play Enhancement Shaman in The War Within Season 2, The Undermined. If you like my UI here, I do get requests on it a lot. You can get the entire thing on my Patreon, which of course also supports the channel. It's custom made with ElvUI and a few other add-ons that I use. This is going to be a beginner guide. We are going to be going through Mythic Plus and Raid rotations. They're actually very similar this season, so really beginner friendly. This is the most beginner friendly Enhancement Shaman has been in a long while. Ever since I started this channel, this is as easy as it has been so far. So let's get into it. I've added this action bar to the screen so that we can see the priority list really, big and nice here. So left-hand side is going to be our top priority. The right-hand side is our lowest priority. We are going totemic here for both raiding and Mythic Plus. This is the Mythic Plus. Sorry, this is the raiding build. We're going to be starting off with the single target rotation. They're very similar rotations anyway. We're just adding in a few AoE multi-target abilities for the Mythic Plus rotation, pretty much. So we are the totemic in both of them, as I said, which gives us a new ability, Surging Totem. Summons a totem at the target location that creates a tremor immediately every 5 seconds, dealing damage. Elemental orbs are going to orbit around your Surging Totem. Your abilities consume the motes for enhanced effects. So air, your next lightning bolt or chain lightning, etc., unleashes some surging bolts at your totem. Earth, direct damage of your next flame shock is increased and is applied to nearby targets. And your next lava lash or fire nova grants you hot hand for 6 seconds, which is a buff I will be talking about shortly. So that's what Surging Totem does. Needless to say then, we're using it on cooldown. So there is our Surging Totem. We've put it down. And we're going to be using that on cooldown. Next up is Flame Shock. You're going to want to keep this up on your target at all times. Sears the target with fire, causing damage and an additional amount over 18 seconds. Flame Shock can be applied to a maximum of 6 targets. Keeping that up on the target at all times, like I said, after that we're going to use Feral Spirit on cooldown, summoning 2 Feral Spirit Wolves that aid us in battle. They're also going to grant us 15% increased damage dealt by our abilities. And you'll notice here it says on the tooltip, Feral Spirit generates 1 stack of Maelstrom weapon immediately and 1 stack every 3 seconds. So on my weak aura here, you can see it says number 10. That is how much Maelstrom weapon we have. So some of our abilities are going to be generating Maelstrom weapon, and some of them are going to be spending it. We're going to get on to very shortly when we're going to actually be doing that. So the next ability is Primordial Wave on a 30-second cooldown. Blasts all targets affected by your Flame Shock with a Primordial Wave, dealing elemental damage. And it also generates 5 stacks of Maelstrom weapon. So you notice here I can't use it. That's because I've let my Flame Shock fall off. Don't do that. Keep Flame Shock up on all targets at all times. So Surging Totem on cooldown, keep Flame Shock up at all times, use Feral Spirit on cooldown. Next thing, use Primordial Wave on cooldown. You're going to see here that it's turned into Primordial Storm. You want to use Primordial Storm whenever you have 10 Maelstrom weapon stacks like I do here. So whenever you've got 10 stacks, use Primordial Storm. It comes from this talent down here. Primordial Wave transforms into a single-use Primordial Storm for 15 seconds after it is cast. Devastate nearby enemies with a Primordial Storm, dealing damage and unleashing a lightning bolt or chain lightning at even higher effectiveness. Consumes Maelstrom weapon for increased damage. So again, you're only using that when you've got 10 Maelstrom weapon. So again, Surging Totem on cooldown, keep up Flame Shock at all times, use Feral Spirit on cooldown, use Primordial Wave, use Primordial Storm to use your 10 Maelstrom weapon. Then we're going to use Doom Winds on cooldown, unleash devastating storm around yourself, dealing loads of damage. Increases the chance to activate Wind Fury weapon, which is a buff we're going to be talking about later. And then we have Lava Lash. You can see Lava Lash is on the cooldown, on the rotation here and here. We're only using it here when we get a proc from something called Hot Hand. Hot Hand is over here. Melee auto attacks with Flame Tongue weapon active. So actually, I will put this on now. I'm going to explain the buff later, but I need to make sure it's up now so that we can actually see this in action. There we go. There's a hot hand. You will see it's procced. It's quite obvious. We're using Lava Lash at that point in the rotation when we have that hot hand active, okay? We're using it down here just if we can, if we have it. But here we're pressing it only if we have hot hand. So again, hot hand. Your melee auto attacks, if Flame Tongue weapon active, which we will have active at all times, have a chance to reduce the cooldown on Lava Lash and increase its damage. Then we're going to be looking again at spending our Maelstrom weapon stacks at 10. Now, obviously, we're using it here when we get Primordial Storm, but we're not going to be using Primordial Storm that often. It's every 30 seconds. So if we get to 10 weapon stacks and we're here in the priority list, we're going to spend those Maelstrom weapon stacks on a priority. Priority number 1, Elemental Blast. If not, it's going to be Lightning Bolt. So Elemental Blast, yep, we can use it. We're going to use our 10 stacks on Elemental Blast. Not before 10 stacks, only when we hit 10 stacks, so we're going to be using it. But that is when we will be doing it. You are going to get to those 10 stacks pretty quickly, as you will just see here, for example. You really, really will get to those 10 stacks very, very quickly. If Elemental Blast is on cooldown, then spend those weapon stacks on Lightning Bolt. If you haven't got 10 stacks, move on. Okay, we can use Lava Lash. It's not got Hot Hand, but we're using it here in the priority list just if we have anything to press. So at this point in the rotation, we'd say, okay, Surging Totem, yep, Flame Shock's about to fall off, keep that up. We've got 10 stacks, let's use our Primordial Wave and Primordial Storm. We've got a Hot Hand, okay, we're going to use Lava Lash. We're not at 10 stacks anymore. We can use Feral Spirit. Let's use that. Okay, we've got a hot hand. We're going to use that. We're at 10 stacks. We're going to use Elemental Blast. Cool. We're moving down. We're not going to use Lightning Bolt because we're not at 10 stacks, and we do have stacks available of Elemental Blast. We use our Surging Totem again, and then you're at the filler spells here. These are literally just fillers. So if you've got nothing else to press, this is what we're going to press, okay? So it's going to be, in this order, we're going to use any remaining Lava Lashes that we can. And then we are going to use Storm Strike, which is on a quick recharge. And if we've got nothing else to press absolutely whatsoever, then we're going to be using Frost Shock, which is instant. So you can use it on the move as well, if needs be. And that is pretty much the rotation. So again, we're using our Surging Totem on cooldown. Keep Flame Shock up at all times. Use your Feral Spirit on cooldown. Use Primordial Wave on cooldown and Primordial Storm if you have 10 stacks of Maelstrom Weapon. Use Doom Winds. Use Lava Lash if you get a proc. Use Elemental Blast if you've got 10 stacks. If that's on cooldown, we're going to be using Lightning Bolt with our 10 stacks of Maelstrom Weapon instead. And then we're going to be using any remaining stacks of Lava Lash, any remaining stacks of Storm Strike that we can. And then we're going to be using Frost Shock if we have absolutely nothing else to press here. And then if that is truly on cooldown, you can use your Flame Shock as well as a sort of filler there as well. But that is pretty much the rotation for single target. Let's have a look through the important talents that we have that are underpinning this rotation before we move on. So we've gone through the totemic rotation and hero talents. The first one here is Wind Fury Weapon. Imbue your main hand weapon with the element of wind. Each main hand attack has a chance to trigger extra attacks, dealing damage. Wind Fury causes each successive Wind Fury attack to increase the damage of Wind Fury. So we're going to enchant that onto our weapon at all times. Another weapon enchant is Flame Tongue Weapon, which is what I explained about Hot Hand. You're going to keep Wind Fury and Flame Tongue Weapon on both weapons at all time. It's up for an hour, so you can see it on your buff bar here that I've got Flame Tongue and Wind Fury up for an hour. Just keep those up at all times, and the same is going to go with Sky Fury. Keep this up on your party and raid for an hour, which increases their mastery, etc. We can also have 2 elemental shields on us at a time. Lightning Shield and, where is it? Earth Shield. So we can keep those 2 shields up on ourselves at all time as well. The Shaman can have 2 active on them. You can help out your tank, etc. by using Earth Shield on them as well. So back to the talents. I just thought that's a perfect time to explain about the other buffs we had when we talk about Wind Fury. Maelstrom Weapon now increases the damage of spells it affects by 20% per stack. Maelstrom Weapon can now stack 5 additional times, so that's to 10, and now increases the damage of spells it affects by an additional 5% per stack as well. Lava Lash's cooldown is reduced, and if you use it against a target that has Flame Shock on, your Flame Shock will actually be spread to up to 5 nearby enemies, which is really important in Mythic Plus or when dealing with a lot of trash. Hot Hand we have spoken about. Ashen Catalyst. Each time Flame Shock deals damage, it increases the damage of your next Lava Lash by 8% up to 64% as well. Lava Lash and Sundering increase the damage of Flame Shock on the target for 20 seconds, so that's going to actually passively increase the damage of your other spells. Consuming 10 stacks of Maelstrom Weapon will reset the cooldown of Storm Strike and increase the damage of your physical and frost abilities for a few seconds. We also increase the chance to gain a stack of Maelstrom Weapon by 4%, and whenever you gain a stack of it, your cooldown on Feral Spirits is going to be reduced by a second, so you're actually going to get them off cooldown quicker than you think. And lastly, Primordial Wave grants us some haste, plus 4% for each additional targets blasted by Primordial Wave. If we then look at the Mythic Plus talents, what you're going to see is that all we're changing over is a few utility talents, which I'll go through later, but apart from that, we're just changing these 4 talents here. So what I'm going to do, so I'd have to change my action bars, I'm just going to talent into these 2, just to show you what they do and where they go, because otherwise I'm going to have to set my action bars twice. So one of our spells is this one here, Crash Lightning. Remember I said about using your spenders for Maelstrom Weapon here? Well, we're just going to slot in this one just after that. So we're just going to slide that into the rotation, Crash Lightning. Electrocutes all enemies in front of you, dealing damage. Hitting 2 or more targets enhances your weapons, causing your abilities to also deal more damage to all targets in front of you. The second ability we're going to add in is Sundering. And we're going to slot this into the rotation here. So just move these kind of along one sort of thing, and then this is at the end still. So Sundering is on a 40-second cooldown. You can just use it on cooldown. Shatters a line of earth in front of you with your main hand weapon, causing flame strike damage and incapacitating the enemy here. Another thing is, rather than using Lightning Bolt, because we're mainly going to be doing multi-target damage, you can swap that out for Chain Lightning. And that is the only changes we're making in Mythic Plus. Hurls a Lightning Bolt at the enemy, dealing damage and jumping to nearby enemies. If Chain Lightning hits more than one target, each target hit by a Chain Lightning increases the damage of your next Crash Lightning. So it's going to increase the damage of your next Crash Lightning here. And that's it, guys. That is the only changes we're making for Mythic Plus. In Mythic Plus, though, you will be doing a lot more kind of utility things, like trying to stop your enemies, slowing them, and things like that. So let's talk about those things now. We also have Bloodlust, which is your biggest in-game cooldown for all classes. Talk to your group leader, your raid leader, or just discuss it in your group when to use this, because this increases everyone's haste by 30% and is the biggest cooldown in the game, but is on a 5-minute cooldown. Cleanse Spirit, you can help your healers by removing all curse effects from a friendly target. An Earth Elemental will increase your health and help you and your allies. Don't forget you can put Earth Shield on not just yourself, but somebody else. Earthbind Totem will slow all nearby enemies. We've got Ghost Wolf, which is amazing. You can turn into a Ghost Wolf and literally speed up whenever you are, inside and outside. And it's not on a cooldown or anything. You can hex your enemies for an entire minute, incapacitating them basically. Spirit Walk removes all movement impairing effects on you and increases movement, whereas Spirit Walker's Grace actually allows you to cast your spells while moving. Stone Bulwark Totem, a fantastic cooldown, is a massive absorb shield totem that you can use every 3 minutes. Totemic Recall reduces the cooldown of your most recently used totem that has a shorter cooldown than 3 minutes, so pretty much all of your cooldowns, all of your totems, you can then use it again. Water Walking, you can walk on water. Windrush, anyone who walks through it, I'll show you it. This one is really cool. So you can place it, say, here, knowing that you and your allies are going to have to run through here. It speeds all of you up when you walk through it, as you can see here. Really, really useful. And Wind Shear. In Mythic Plus, you can interrupt, well, and in raiding, but mainly you're using it in Mythic Plus. It's on a 12-second cooldown to interrupt your enemy spellcasting. If you are a total beginner, don't just think damage, damage, damage. Often, interrupting the enemy spellcasting can be the difference between life and death, and it's really, really important that you're doing this as much as possible. One other cool thing that us shamans have is reincarnation. Every 30 minutes, when you die, you can actually resurrect yourself with 20% health and mana. So you actually get a get out of jail free card as a shaman. And that's it, guys. That is everything you need to know for playing Enhancement Shaman in the War Within Season 2. And like I said, this is the easiest Enhancement Shaman has ever been in the last few expansions, in my opinion. So it's a really great time to get into it as a beginner. Don't forget to subscribe. I do actually do quite a lot on this channel. As you can see, I do every single spec. I've done War Within PvP guides. You can see here, Season 1, 65 videos. I do every single spec, every single season. Pre-patch guides I do as well. I do WoW Classic and Cataclysm as well. I'll be doing Mr. Pandaria if you play that. I do also run the Javi Herobrine channel. If you're also into other games, this is my Minecraft channel. Do check this one out. It's all for modded Minecraft, and I teach everyone how to play mods in there. And I do also have my new channel, Javi How To, which I've repurposed into a variety gaming guides channel. So do check out this one if you're looking for all of the latest releasing games and how to get guides on those.